The Highway of Tears, a true story of Canada's vanishing women. Along a desolate stretch of Highway 16 in British Columbia, Canada, dozens of women, mostly Indigenous, have vanished or been found murdered since the 1970s. Known as the Highway of Tears, this 720-kilometer corridor through remote forests and small towns has become a grim symbol of loss, with at least 18 confirmed victims and estimates of up to 40. The cases, plagued by sparse evidence and systemic neglect, remain largely unsolved, pointing to one or multiple killers who exploited the region's isolation and societal blind spots. Who is responsible for these disappearances, and why have so few been brought to justice? The Highway of Tears is a haunting mosaic of grief, exposing the vulnerabilities of a marginalized community and a nation's failure to protect them. The tragedy gained attention in 1969 when Gloria Moody, a 26-year-old Indigenous woman, was found dead near Williams Lake, her body beaten and abandoned off Highway 16. Over the decades, more women vanished or were discovered along the route, from Prince George to Prince Rupert. Victims included Monica Ignace, 1974, Pamela Darlington, 1973, Colleen McMillan, 1974, Mary Jane Hill, 1978, Maureen Mosey, 1981, Alberta Williams, 1989, Delphine Nichal, 1990. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police, RCMP, linked 18 cases to the Highway of Tears, though advocates argue the toll is higher, with unreported disappearances ignored due to racial bias. The killings varied. Some women were strangled, others stabbed or beaten, but shared a pattern. Bodies dumped in remote areas, often near rivers or logging roads, with little forensic evidence. The vast, rugged terrain, coupled with long distances between towns, made investigations arduous. Many victims weren't reported missing for weeks, as families assumed they'd moved or were estranged. A task force, formed in 2005 as Project E-Pana, focused on 18 cases, identifying patterns but few suspects. In 2012, DNA linked Bobby Jack Fowler, a deceased American drifter, to Colleen McMillan's murder, and he was suspected in others, but his death in 2006 closed that door. Other suspects included Gary Handlin, convicted in 2018 for Monica Ignace's murder, and Brian Arp, investigated for multiple killings but never charged. No single killer has been tied to all cases, suggesting multiple predators or a mix of serial and isolated crimes. The case's chilling details deepen its tragedy. Victims were often last seen hitchhiking, a necessity in a region with no public transit and widespread poverty. Some were found partially clothed, suggesting sexual assault, though degraded remains limited evidence. The killer, or killers, knew the highway's backroads, likely locals or truckers familiar with logging routes. Families reported eerie similarities. Anonymous tips claiming bodies were by the water, and sightings of a dark pickup truck near Vanishing's never traced. Systemic issues hampered justice. Indigenous women's disappearances were often dismissed as runaways by police, reflecting deep-seated bias. Sparse RCMP resources and jurisdictional disputes between towns slowed investigations. Evidence, like clothing or tire tracks, was often lost to rain or time. Families, marginalized and distrustful of authorities, struggled to get attention, with some conducting their own searches. The 2002 disappearance of Nicole Hoare, a white woman, drew national media, exposing stark disparities in coverage compared to Indigenous victims. Theories range from a single serial killer to a network of opportunistic predators. Some link the murders to drug trafficking along Highway 16, a known smuggling route. Others point to transient workers, loggers, miners, passing through isolated towns. Conspiracy theories suggest police complicity or a cover-up to protect local elites. Though no evidence supports this, the vast timeline, spanning decades, implies either a long-active killer or copycats exploiting the highway's infamy. The Highway of Tears galvanized advocacy. Indigenous communities, led by groups like the Native Women's Association of Canada, demanded better policing and transit options. Billboards and memorials line Highway 16, bearing victims' names. A 2015 government inquiry into missing and murdered Indigenous women, MMIW, cited the highway as a crisis point, but reforms have been slow. DNA and genetic genealogy offer hope, but many cases lack viable samples. Today, the Highway of Tears remains a painful open wound, with at least 18 victims and only a few convictions. The road, flanked by towering pines and misty rivers, is both beautiful and foreboding. A path where women vanished into silence. Were they victims of one monster, many, or a broken system? The Highway of Tears carries their stories, a cry for justice that echoes through British Columbia's wild heart. If you enjoyed this videos, follow me, like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. Thank you.